All right, it wouldn't be an OG Live if I didn't have technical difficulties without Joe Livius. I'm Joe Giglio, joined today by Hayes Permar and Jared Plummer. Jared is the maestro of Two Roosters. We are at the, is it, settle a bet, is this Person Street or Franklin Street technically?
We refer to it as Person Street Plaza, but technically, Hayes is right. It's on Franklin Street.
I know my North Person area.
I already lost a bet. This is not great.
We need a Giglio. Don't say there's always parking on Franklin Street. You better read the signs on Franklin Street.
Yeah,
because there are certain times, but not all the time.
Plenty of parking right out front though for Jared. So yes, technical difficulty. We have a single camera shot here. And in grand tradition,
we're just buddying up. That's all.
In grand tradition of Ovius not being here, he didn't answer his phone either. So this time it's not actually audio, knock on wood. It is more of this camera positioning and my ability to get a second camera to work. I would be terrible at certain industries. So, Jared, you were kind enough this month to have us have our own flavor. Now, I have to be honest with you. All I did was copy the greatest flavor that you've ever had, which is the peanut butter cookie. So, A, thank you for allowing us to have our own flavor. B, thank you for allowing us to just basically make the peanut butter cookie a little bit different, vanilla ice style, just a little ding, 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 ding.
Well, I feel like that's sort of Two Roosters. Like, I didn't invent ice cream. We just went the ding, 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 elevate it a little bit with ice cream. You know what I mean?
Perfect. Now, we've done live shows before, but not from where this is the store that I go to. This is the store that Hayes goes to as well. So give people a little bit of an idea how you got started. And I know there's like a truck involved. There's like NC State involved. Our guy Carl will tell me, you know, I'm the one who taught him how to make ice cream. So just give us a little bit, give the people an idea about your background, because I always tell you, it's fairly amazing. You have 5 ice cream stores. It's 2:00 on a Tuesday. There's people in here. And that's a testament to you, because there's a lot of places that you can buy ice cream. And there's a lot of people who don't get past even one store. So just a little bit how you got here and what makes Two Roosters so good.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. So, yeah, I went to NC State, studying accounting of all things.
Really?
So, yeah, I took a hard left after about 8 years of public accounting.
Too many numbers.
Yeah. Well, my one dad joke is I'm still a bean counter, but I just count vanilla beans now. So, yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. So, yeah, started Two Roosters amazingly 10 years ago.
Wow.
We're celebrating 10 years, which we can talk about in a minute. But yeah, started with the food truck when those were all the rage, and have slowly built it store after store at a Lenovo, Durham Bulls, Wake Med, soccer, like all the things. So just little by little, like the little engine.
You're not responsible for NC State's winless record on the road last year?
I mean, Barstool Pack, according to them, it's up for debate, but okay. I don't know. We'll let the people decide on that.
Is NC State still willing to take your money?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll have a new deal cooked up with Coach Wade.
That's just good marketing. Getting in there, getting your brand out there, and never having to actually pay up on that.
That's
thing.
right.
That's just a smart business. You guys should know that.
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta chime in here for a second.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm surprised this didn't happen with Ovius, but now I'm thinking this whole camera thing is a setup. This whole having to come in on Tuesday. Giglio wanted to sit here and make me sit in between you and him while he got a flavor at Two Roosters before Hayes Permar, self-proclaimed man of Raleigh, and now like associated with the strong Raleigh brand. He just wanted to rub it in my face. No. And again, I know Ovius will never admit it. I know he's loving the fact that he's like, I got a Two Roosters flavor before Permar. So I'm sitting here salty about that. And then I won't drag Giglio through the mud and do my as the crow flies, which Two Roosters are you guys actually closest to versus which one I am to?
No.
But I don't know what your question was, but I'm cutting it off.
Yes.
My question is, you do an amazing series. You guys are great with your branding. I think it's one of the things with the original truck, that green and white, you could see it at a food truck thing and you knew what it was, right? Across the way. But one of the things you guys do, you guys are great online. You do a Can It ice cream. I've heard it discussed on here before.
Yeah.
Is there a most surprising, yes, it can ice cream? And for those who don't know, they'll take pizza or, I don't know, chewing tobacco. Have you done that? Like other North Carolina things.
Chowder.
And be like, clam chowder. Oh my God.
No, you did not.
And they do a video of like, could you make an ice cream out of this? Because I mean, there are weird flavors that you guys have experimented some across the nation. You'll see like crazy things. What's the thing that like absolutely was the worst. It would never be ice cream, and maybe the most surprising. I can't believe that actually made good ice cream.
Yeah, a couple years ago, I went to Cookout, so we did a full Cookout tray. So we dumped the whole cheeseburger, fries, the sauce, like the special Cookout sauce. Oh yeah, it's as bad as you would think it would. The one that was like real. I mean, we kind of you would think, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Was we took a whole Hayes Barton coconut cake.
Oh yeah,
yeah, the whole thing.
That's an iconic.
And we had it in a 5-gallon bucket, and it barely fit the whole cake in the top of a 5-gallon bucket. So we made the ice cream.
I can see that. Yeah.
I know it's like asking someone who their favorite child is, but I have Mount Rushmore of Two Roosters flavors. So give us maybe 2 that are on your Mount Rushmore of Two Roosters flavors.
I always answer this way. I appreciate the reference to favorite kid because that's a call out. By volume, I eat most cookies and cream.
Okay.
It's my
your standard flavor.
Yep.
Yes.
I just watching the Final Four game, just pounding some cookies and cream. I will say you and I are like-minded. Peanut butter cookie. Okay. So when peanut butter cookie comes on, that's my go-to.
And how about the carrot cake with the chocolate chip? Because that was brilliant.
Yeah, I heard that's Hayes' favorite too.
No, it's one of those things that if you don't like carrot cake, you're not gonna like. There's certain things if you don't like the ingredient that goes in the ice cream, you're not gonna like the ice cream.
Right.
I don't apologize.
Like Cookout tray.
Yeah. I can give you my favorite all time were brown butter Rice Krispie, or maybe you can't call it Rice Krispie. Yeah, I know you can't use exact brand names, but basically brown butter Rice Krispie and Mississippi mud pie. Those are 2 of my all time favorite guest ones, and then. On the regular menu, I like the coffee bourbon.
I think we're all in concert on that. Well, no, you said Oreo, but coffee bourbon, of course. The OG of standard flavors here at Two Roosters. Okay, we're at Person Street or Franklin Street. Just come down and see us. You know where we are.
People are going to be in Chapel Hill. I heard they're on Franklin.
They're on Franklin Street.
Franklin Street is a small road, but very busy, right in the heart of.
Not quite as popular in Chapel Hill as we are in Raleigh. So, but Jared, before we let you go here, and before we get on to a super lightning round version of today's program, and there's so many youths here today. I'm watching my language, of course. I try this on the OG Butcher's Market live days. So I'm cleaning things up. Chip Patterson, I was able to record some football takes with him, so we'll play those after we go through the lightning round. But you mentioned 10 years. So what are you doing to celebrate the 10 years?
Yeah, so starting next Tuesday, it's the lead up to National Ice Cream Day, which I think it's always the 3rd Sunday in July. Celebrating 10 years.
Like the Kentucky Derby. First Saturday. Everyone knows.
Yeah. So the lead up to that, really fun. Every store is going to be decked out in a different decade. Okay. Oh, wow. And then we're doing fun things here. And then on National Ice Cream Day, we're having different activations at each store. So depending on what store you come to, you could experience a whole different version of Two Roosters.
All right.
So yeah.
So you'll be at the Cary store right near your house in Garner. Obvious will be in North Raleigh. What do you call that?
Wait a second. You got to give them the quick pitch. You had Garner trying to hit you up.
Oh yeah,
to open a bar in Garner.
Well,
we can get some ice cream.
We don't have to tell everything publicly, but I got folks down in the town of Garner that are trying to make an area of business happen. I think a Two Roosters down there could be great.
The Big G, man, I'm down.
All right,
yeah.
There's a baseball field right there, just the built-in audience for the product.
I'm down. You just call my people.
All right, we'll talk.
Have his people call your people. Jared, appreciate you so much, and thank you again for having us here in the air conditioning today. I had offered to be outside at the iconic picnic tables, but you were kind enough to save my my large behind here today.
Yeah, so. I do have. Can I ask you guys one question? I love to do this. What's your favorite in-game promotion or halftime promotion that you've ever seen or heard about? It's
definitely not Simon Says. The worst.
That guy came at me one time on Twitter when I called him out. I called him out. He's been like everybody loves Red Panda. Red Panda's iconic, and shout out, hope she's recovering.
I know, wrist injury.
That was crazy.
I've got an old Red Panda song I was trying to bring back, but I couldn't upload it on Twitter from my phone. I was like, this would crash right now. I think it's kind of cheap to call it, but I think the freeze down in Atlanta, where you get a head start and then he runs you down.
Smart. Yeah.
Because then every now and then and just the way they set it up, calling it the freeze, he's got the bodysuit, and then the outcome isn't really clear to the end, and there's the high probability of somebody thinking that they're great, getting dusted,
and usually falling,
or randomly. Like recently, I think there was a police officer woman that like beat him.
Oh, really?
Like she started out like she had it perfect. She started out at a good pace, but she didn't go too hard, and then she like picked up speed. So it was great. So I'll go with the Freeze. Definitely one of the best all time.
All right. I'll back it up with him. That's fine. It was a great idea.
All right.
Because I'm not down for the presidential races or whatever else they do potentially locally. So
I would say locally, I do remember at Ice Caps game, I loved when the blimp dropped tickets.
Oh,
that was an old school one.
The blimp in Dorton Arena.
In Dorton Arena, there'd be a blimp that would fly around and just drop tickets. I don't know if that was street legal. I don't know if we were violating any rules.
So come down and get the salty peanut butter fudge. I feel like I need to promote to the people that it has Reese's peanut butter cups in it. That is the fastball, and the as we've talked about before, you cannot have a Mount Rushmore flavor without a ripple. We have a salty fudge ripple in the OGs, the Joe and Joe salty peanut butter fudge, all month right here at Two Roosters. Jared, you're the best. Thank you so much for helping us out today.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, dude.
All right, Hayes, we have a little bit inside the business here. You on Monday come down to the Eford Studios, and thanks again to our friends at Empire Eats, Empire Properties, and our friends at Copiers Plus. We can't do this without Copiers Plus and how they help us with all of our business needs. Best way to get in touch with them is copiers-plus.com. Now, and it's also this is our live show for all of those who are confused. Our live show is brought to you by the Butcher's Market, butchersmarkets.com. As Hayes has learned, you can go to the beach. They have one in Wilmington and get some either pre-made foods or just go get the signature chicken or signature steak tips and be the star of the grill. So the Butcher's Market, we appreciate them for taking care of us here at the OG. So Monday, we leave the studio. Monday, I was like, okay, we got Canes. We were off for a week. We got the Canes. This is a good thing. There's no big deal, right? Wednesday, we have the Mount Rushmore of War Machines. These will be the best teams in the Triangle since 2000. So that episode was pretty clearly taken care of, right?
My Chapel Hill rec team in 2000.
I'm very prepared for all of your nonsense tomorrow.
I'm trying to eat minutes, baby. That's what I'm here. I'm a middle reliever. I'm here to do some innings.
Look at that. Look at me.
You're going to come out with your quick answers that are right, and the show's going to be 15 minutes long.
I know.
And I'm in there to hear the people asking for other things, press you a little bit on,
That's fair.
Your criteria.
I like this. That's Wednesday.
I'm going to do my job.
But yesterday I'm leaving the studio and you go, hey, so is there a game tonight? And I'm like, no.
Is there anything worth watching?
Anything going on? You're like,
is there a home run contest?
No.
Is there a golf tournament that got rained out and is finishing on a Monday?
No.
Is there anything?
No.
No, it's bleak out there. That's why I did try and draw you in with Wimbledon a little bit. We do have Skelton and Center tomorrow. But I don't think
Italian and the real American.
I don't think we're a Wimbledon pregame show.
No, we're not.
That's us.
So I decided, okay, let's do the smart thing. Chip Patterson, CBS Sports Cover 3 podcast. Chip works for CBS, so he will not be at the ACC kickoff. Oh, Jared.
Oh, it's like that. Oh, is this it?
This is it. He hasn't had it
I'm trying to laugh.
He hasn't had it yet. So look at the real reaction. So you're going to hear a conversation that I had with Chip about our local teams.
Oh, can I ask you a serious question?
Carolina State and Duke over-unders.
I know I interrupt with silly stuff. Yeah. Is it becoming like this now where network partners only show up to their conference media days?
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Question.
Chip's not going to be in Charlotte for the ACC kickoff. It's the same time as the Big Ten kickoff. CBS owns the rights to the Big Ten. Therefore, Chip and his Cover 3 partners will be in Las Vegas for their kickoff event. Charlotte, Las Vegas.
Tough break for Patterson.
Charlotte.
God, now I've been in the interview.
I know. So we're going to play that after we do a lightning round here. Actually, we could do a little bit of housekeeping while Hayes is. Whoa! That was quite a change there. Oh, so StreamYard changed their how things work, which makes even me fumble even more. So you're just gonna have to deal with me saying housekeeping. So we're live next Thursday from Shady's in Garner. Come out and see us. It's 4:00. We will have OG Light. We will have a keg of OG Light. We are also working on having ice cream there from Two Roosters. Shady's, of course, is our friend Josh Whitaker Hamer for all of your legal needs. WH.lawyer. All right. And we're here tomorrow for a normal taping of the OG. We will have the War Machines for the first 25 years of this century. Now, Your initial review and reaction to the salty peanut butter fudge.
It's delicious. You guys are right. Peanut butter is a solid pick. I feel like it'd be even better seasonally at Easter. Tastes like an Easter basket. That's what I could say.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can get behind that. It's a little bit of like Easter candy-ish
go on
feel
like
to it.
your whatever your Easter dessert is. This would go, but no, this is you guys knocked it out of the park.
Perfect.
I respect that you were like, we're gonna go for a
Standard and
better,
just try to wrinkle it.
or a better flavor versus a more clever flavor.
Yeah.
I heard you discussing some very clever.
Yeah.
You know what? You want something that could be voted back onto the list. I don't know what month it is where you get to vote for your
Fan
best.
favorites.
Yeah, you wanted one that would be voted back as opposed to one that was like
Yeah.
Cuban,
Plus, we're not
Cuban
really
cannoli.
ethnic. I've decided that as well. Like, yes, half of my family is Italian. Yes, Joe's family is Cuban, but our podcast is not a like ethnic central type podcast, so it doesn't reflect the podcast itself. Peanut butter is also legitimately the only thing we can agree on, Joe and I, when it comes to food. We don't even really like the same types of beers. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to have a lightning round. But first, the Rialto, you have the purple shirt on. We will be there week 0. It's the 24th of August. Go get your tickets right now. The link I have put below. It's in the link in the comments below. You can check it out in the description there. Buy your tickets. We're going to have a great time. We did this last year. It's football season.
It's a perfect way to kick off college football because they tell you it's week 0, but there's really not a lot going on.
Usually the games themselves aren't all of that interesting.
So you're in the mood to talk football, but you're not really. It's not really watchable football on week 0. So
okay.
There are many topics for lightning round today on OMG.
All right, thank goodness for The Athletic, who has provided us with the top 100 rivalries in college football.
they know what month it is.
They
know how to
do.
get those clicks in July.
They do know what month it is, and so I have the list. I have the tweet of their top 25 Hayes. And if you had to guess, for those who are just listening to the audio portion of this, if you had to guess, is there an ACC rivalry in the top 10? What would your answer be?
I would have said no because I would have forgotten about the one that's there.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like it wasn't built on being an ACC rivalry, right? But it is.
Actually, their move to the ACC almost killed it.
Yeah. But yes. So I would have guessed no, but then when I saw the one that it is, I would have been like, oh yeah, duh.
Okay, so of the top 10, we have one from the ACC, Miami versus Florida State. Obviously, Michigan, Ohio State is number 1. Auburn, Alabama 2, Oklahoma, Texas 3, Army, Navy.
I mean,
Tradition, I guess.
You're either in for that one or you're not.
Or
right?
here's the real head scratcher: USC, Notre Dame. Talk about. Hey, what year is it? Athletic.
Did my grandfather vote?
Same with Nebraska, Oklahoma. Like, did they even play anymore? They don't, right?
I guess they didn't want to put Alabama versus everybody. And like they didn't want Alabama in the top 10 9 times.
I was gonna say Alabama, LSU should be in there, and it is. Georgia, Florida should be higher. Yeah, I mean, look, this list is a classic. How do we give ourselves a little bit of attention? Good timing by the Athletic in July. So.
All right, you want me to give you the other ACC ones?
So my question now would be, well, wait a second. Where is maybe the other ones that could potentially be on the list for the ACC? Off the top of my head, State, Carolina, obviously is a local one. Virginia Tech is another good one.
All right, I'll go from the back.
I mean, even like is a Boston College, Syracuse? Does that
maybe? I think Pitt, Syracuse was in there somewhere. Okay. But all right, going from the back, and I don't have everything. I just sort of grabbed the ones that I know we care about. Coming in right ahead of Williams Amherst is Clemson, NC State. I think we call it the Textile Bowl.
Yes.
My friends like to call it the John Edwards Bowl.
Yeah.
Because he started at Clemson, finished at NC State, I believe.
Okay.
Clemson, NC State, one behind Colorado State.
Okay.
Then a nice little run here. At 87 is Georgia Southern App State, which is one behind Wake Forest, NC State at 86. Wake State makes the list. I believe they've earned that. They've got over 100 meetings.
Dave Clawson, for sure.
Yeah. Then 78, Virginia Tech. 77, North Carolina Duke. 76, Clemson, Georgia. I
barely play.
I didn't realize they played 60 times. I guess they must have played more back in the day. But
yeah,
Would you put UNC Duke over Virginia Tech in football?
No.
I'm not sure I would
No.
either. They did get it right by having UNC NC State ahead of UNC Duke. UNC
Okay.
NC State is 57,
Okay.
one behind Notre Dame Miami, which feels like
They barely ever play too.
Alabama Clemson at 55. And then leading the ACC, I believe, after Miami Florida State, unless I missed one, at 42, Virginia North Carolina. Now that's where I feel like they missed.
Virginia, North Carolina ahead of State Carolina.
It has a clever name. Don't they call it the oldest rivalry in the South?
Sure.
And there is, I remember when I was in school, it felt like a big deal because there seemed like similarity between the two.
Yeah.
But saying UNC Virginia is a bigger rivalry than UNC NC State doesn't
In football,
work for me.
no.
It's another reason why UNC NC State should have made themselves the barbecue bowl 2 decades ago because a
they don't
clever
have-
name
Right.
vaults your rivalry up the list. So
I agree. Mistakes
go,
were
local
made.
schools.
So yeah, congratulations to the Athletic. We talked about your list on a day where there is literally
Just
not a
what you wanted.
single thing to get into. However, one of your great song homages was during the 2022 Final Four. It was one that was begged for by people. This is not it, but this is just the transition.
Topics stack it up. Julio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
All right, let's flash back to 2022. Let's go back even further. When you're Sports Channel 8, you were the master of songs. And PJ Be Back by Kentucky. There's any number of ones that Patino. I enjoyed Patino even last year. Trying to find that thing on YouTube was fun. But one that was like a most requested, I feel like, was Just Another Manic Monday.
I promised I'd do it because I figured it wouldn't happen.
Right.
It was like after UNC won maybe 1 or 2 games, I was like, okay, if UNC makes the championship game, I'll do a Manic Monday because Brady Manic he hadn't even been that good the first half of the season, but he was lightning hot in the last third of the season plus the playoffs, including 2 great games, mostly being kind of the point person guarding Paolo Banchero.
We bring this up not as a way to rub it into Duke fans, but rather to bring up Paolo Banchero signing a 5-year max rookie extension that could reach $287 million. This according to Shams Charania of ESPN and Mike Miller, his agent, tells ESPN. The deal includes a player option. He is the first for a rookie max since Luka Doncic and Trae Young in 2021.
Doncic looks like a good deal. Trae Young, not so much.
Well, if you draft a player that high and Banchero was first pick overall the year he came out in 22, you want to be able to hang on to those players. And that's what the NBA is really about. This gets into your rookie contracts. It also gets into your Larry Bird rights. That essentially the NBA allows you to re-sign your players.
Make it
past any kind of
advantageous for them to
limit.
stay with you. Yeah.
There's a salary apron, tax apron, all these other things. But essentially, the thing that Ovius argues about how the NFL salary cap is not real, that is a real thing in the NBA. It's not real because they allow you to go over it to re-sign your own players. That's kind of how it works. So
my question about
Banchero's been a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah. So shout out our friend Bomani Jones. And the reason I bring up Brady Manic, he'll admit, he's like, I don't watch that much college basketball. I watched maybe 3 games this year, and 2 of them were Banchero kind of getting owned by Brady Manic. And that's why I said I don't think Banchero will be number 1 pick. And I say I was wrong. Now I've watched him play in the NBA. He's strong. He's more assertive than he was in college. That was the weird part why he didn't take over games.
He took 1 shot in the final 8 minutes of their final 4
when he was
loss
so
to
clearly
Carolina.
the best player on the court in that game too.
Yeah.
But my question is, well, do you consider Jason Tatum a star or a superstar at this point?
I think Jason Tatum is a superstar in the NBA.
Maybe because he
One of the best
won.
10
Maybe
players.
because he won a title. But it's not just best 10. The thing that you can be a star, but then there's that extra level. I mean, there's only a couple superstars. The Giannis, the Jokic's, obviously like the Brons, the KDs are the ones going out. Banchero is. I feel like he sits right on that edge. I don't know if he's going to just be a star, which would be,
Well, Orlando made a really prescient move in trading for Desmond Bain with Memphis.
And the East is wide open.
And they did it before Tyrese Halliburton's injury. And now they put themselves in a position this season to take advantage of that window. So we'll see if, I do think there is something to being the best player on a championship team. I think Tatum was clearly that for the Boston Celtics. Now he has his injuries as well. I also didn't have any problem with Steve Kerr, the way that he treated him in the Olympics when people were like, oh, Steve Kerr can't coach. Steve Kerr doesn't know this. Steve Kerr doesn't know that. It's like, No. You got to put a team together as well. So I understand both sides of that argument, but
Has Ben Caro played for the national team?
I mean, not the proper Olympic team, but he's been in
Yeah.
their national team system.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's see what else we have here. All right, I'll spare you the Bill Belichick sounder, but this is a Bill Belichick related topic, and it feels like I'm missing. See, Hayes, if you were filling in for Adam Gold right now, you would do this same segment, but you would be sharper with it, and you would be like, coming up next, what would your name be if you were to generate a coach on NCAA 26? One local coach has a creative identity. We'll do that after this.
But you should have done that before you played the lightning round thing.
I should have. Is your microphone talking to that?
I think so.
Okay,
Still
you're
working.
better.
I just got to lean in. Sometimes I think I'm looking at you.
I know.
I gotta talk
I
into
worry
it.
about you sometimes, even though you're the loudest person on the planet.
I'm not used to the 2-man setup. I'm over here trying to look at you. You
don't have to. You just look
Wow,
at the camera.
all right.
You're fine. But we're not on a radio segment. We don't have to gin this thing up. My man Kent Sports, he's a local. He's a state guy. We have connected. We will be doing some summer content together, so I am looking forward to that. I didn't realize. I knew Bill Belichick wasn't on the NFL game, the Madden game. You know, back in the day, he was very, very on brand for Bill Belichick. Oh, I'm going to be on a video game. I did not realize Deion Sanders was not on the video game either. So instead of just, making them look like these two guys, well, here's what EA Sports decided to do instead.
Opted out of the college football video game. And these are incredible. Take a look at these guys. Now coaching Colorado. Instead of Deion Sanders, you have a elite recruiter named Kirkpatrick, who's given an A+ rating. And at UNC, there's a scheme guru, which does sound like Belichick, but he was given the name Hector Luna, who's given a B+ rating. Remember, these guys opted out, so EA Sports can't use their name, image, and likeness. And EA Sports probably couldn't use a Phil Belichick. It'd be too obvious who they're clearly replacing. Really similar to when EA Sports had to replace Barry Bonds in MVP Baseball 2005 with an elite left fielder named John Dowd, who was also 40 years old and batted left-handed. But again, can't make it too obvious who they're replacing, so they go with John Dowd for Barry Bonds. Here, you can't make it obvious it's Deion Sanders, so they go super Irish name, Kirkpatrick, and then Hector Luna replacing Belichick. Nobody's going to know. I'm not sure.
He just goes on to make a point about how they opted out of the game, and that you can do that for Madden, doesn't matter. But if you're Bill Belichick and you're trying to recruit players who play the game, just opt into the game. It's not about a financial reason. It's one of these things where I feel like Bill Belichick didn't get the memo. In college football, you got to always be recruiting, man. ABC.
Are they
it's
worried?
not, and it's not anybody but Carolina. It's always be recruiting.
Are they worried that if he gives them the name, image, and likeness, that they'd have his profile picture and there'd be like a girl over his shoulder, like that they do whatever they want?
Nice.
I would have liked that. I did like they switched races for both coaches. So
They did.
The Deion replacement was white. The Belichick replacement, I believe, Hispanic looked like there.
Mhm. Hector
Yeah.
Luna.
They should have named him Bell Belichick or something like that. Sion Danders, just go right on the nose. And I assume in today's world, with like a flick of a couple buttons, you can replace. Somebody has already created a patch to download where you can actually, if you want Bill Belichick. But to your point, don't make it hard for kids to find you. Be in the game. In fact, if you're Bill Belichick, you could probably be like, "Hey, my agent's telling me not to do it, but I want to be part of your thing. But can you make me look cool?" Like, you could probably get something out of it if you play the game a little bit. But that's probably not his style.
Big thanks to our friends at Roback. I got my Roback on today. The golf hoodies are the most comfortable thing there is, even when it's 90-something degrees. Use your promo code OG20. You can save 20%. Get your Roback on. Gilio is Robacking up. We're here at Two Roosters, which means we're making good choices. Well, make another good choice. Go to Happy and Hail. Get yourself some hot honey chicken. Get you the Bueno Bowl. They have one that's the Thai peanut chicken. That feels like, to me, it's almost like getting Chinese takeout, but healthy.
The salad.
Amazing choices and combos. Use that promo code OG25 on Happy and Hail, and you can save 25% on your initial order. Here I am trying to fly through these things with the wrong words and without my glasses and all those good things. Our friends at Longleaf Swine, we appreciate them. Normally when we're live, we are over there, and there is parking on Edenton. I don't know why Hayes has to be such a hater. They also have an amazing menu. I love their brisket. It is my favorite. So please go check them out. Longleaf on Edenton, and was it Blunt? Person. Yeah.
Yep.
The same
Right
road
down
that
here.
yeah, the same road that we're on right here.
4 blocks
So
away.
yeah, we're working backwards today. And one more ad. Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority, get rid of those bugs, please. Pretty please. I had ants when I came home from Florida. It always happens right around the what's that thing called? The dishwasher? The sink and the dish. That's not, you know what I mean? Where there's moisture. That's where the ants show up. So do yourself a favor.
I thought you were being funny. Like, what's
No,
that thing called? The dishwasher. I'm like, the dishwasher.
I lost my
counter.
counter. It's definitely the counter. It's not like, it's like in between it,
Sure.
because they're connected and the whole thing, and there's a leak or whatever the heck is going on at the Giglio household. All of my bug needs can be handled by Hazen, Lancaster, Mosquito Authority, Pest Authority, bugsbite.com. All right, so we are working backwards today. So we'll do this. All right, so before we get to some football talk with Chip Patterson, which will take us out of the show for today, the live portion anyway, let's talk about the comments we have here. I can't wait to see. Usually when I have technical difficulties, people will be quick to point out that I am incompetent when it comes to such things.
Do they offer help? Do they offer advice? They're like, hey, try Control C, R, open up your settings.
Lock?
Yeah.
Did you hit restart?
And is that better or worse?
I did actually hit restart. Big thanks to our friends at Nature's Relief Hemp Store. I'm going to need to go hit up the one on Timber Drive in Garner, because they have 5 milligram drinks, which to me, I know I'm a little bit of a lightweight. I know this, but I can have 2 or 3 5 millis and just chill out. So big thanks to our friends over at Nature's Relief. All right, now let's get to your comments. Let's start at the top. Bruce, State fan here. I feel like we can have 5 wins this season, 3 injured quarterbacks, and still find a way to beat UNC. Yes,
not wrong.
That season finale game just might come up in our conversation with Chip Patterson. Davis, let's face it, Carolina's going to go to the SEC, screw the Big Ten. Obviously it's not the same as when Jim Delaney was in the Big Ten, but you got to remember, a lot of these schools, they have these ideas that academics actually matter.
Yeah,
and Carolina is actually one of those schools.
I think they're better than others.
Can timer reset? Is Hayes late, or as Joe is Hayes late as Joe expected?
Wait, what?
Whoa.
No.
Hayes getting astray here. He didn't do anything.
I was here early. This
Okay.
next one's great.
No, it was me. It was technology. From Matt and Carver. I love the comparison of Hayes not watching his race.
The exact same. You know what? Exact same.
Not
Me and Elva, handshake me. They're like, you know what? I did the podcast yesterday. I didn't listen to it. I knew it was gold. I did my part. Yeah, same thing. I don't listen. I don't have to listen. I was there. I lived the thing. Me and Idris, I get you, Idris. I get you.
All right, Mike, you're right. Death taxes and Joey Giggs tech issues. Yep.
So we have to hear the thing for
maybe. I mean, they didn't win a road game last year, including that Miami game. So who knows? I had the OG flavor. That's from Steven. I had the OG flavor this past weekend. Incredible. The peanut butter hits. Yeah, it really does. Davis, how long will it take the State fans to turn on Will Wade?
Come on, Davis.
It's a fair question.
Good cheer for your team.
It's a fair question. Can you guys make your way to Holly Springs? We already have an ice cream war ongoing with some other brands there. Okay. Jeannie, Yum. Yeah, Jeannie hit up Longleaf Swine this weekend, and I saw her on her socials. So, Mike Jones, Army Navy should be number 1.
Why not Army Air Force? Why do people not care about? What about Navy Air Force? If Army Navy is that good, then Air Force Army should be at least up there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all
Okay, this is more related to the list.
pageantry.
Okay. From Andrew, I've always thought UNC NC State should be called a house divided because you see those two signs. You see those signs everywhere.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I mean,
Somewhere in your extended family, you probably are housing both. You know, it's not always husband, wife get married, but usually if you got enough North Carolina related people in your family, you get State and Carolina fans.
okay. Matt from Carborough. So Jordan is going to take Bill's place in the game. I'm surprised they didn't think about that.
Well, I was going to say Jordan was one of the all-time original opt-outs when the greatest video game of all time, NBA Jam, came out, did not have Michael Jordan. It was like around 91 when it came out, and he was just reaching.
It was like Horace Grant and Pippen as the two players, right?
I think you could put a code in even on the original arcade game, but I feel like there's not a lot of things. I mean, he's one of the few people who could do that and it wouldn't hurt his legacy, but like there's a lot of people who's like, can you imagine if you weren't in NBA Jam?
Thank you for coming by.
Good work. That's a good looking shake right there. But yes, I always think of Jordan for that.
From Kyle, recruiting option for UNC in the game. DM from Jordan really moves the needle. Yeah, probably. Jeannie's right. Ribs too. Yes, and fries, Bloody Mary. They got great stuff, man. There's a fan. Rick, where's Hayes' towel?
I do. The towel got shed this morning after my walk. It was already too wet. And I was going to be inside, so I need a towel. And then this next comment just says Hayes, but I just know who it's from.
Hey, Chris.
This is a former Mudcats employee.
Yeah.
I'm organizing a Mudcats. It's the last year of the Mudcats.
Yes.
And so I'm getting together with a bunch of old production crew, guys that we spent a lot of hours. You know this covering sports. It's like the people that you sit next to become like your friends, right? You just spend so many hours watching the game. So I'm looking forward to getting together with the Mudcats crew. What's up, Bats?
Oh, see that? I almost had it.
I saw you.
Almost had it.
I saw you sliding in that real smooth like.
Then I hit the wrong button. Joining me now in the Heister Automotive Group studio in-person hotline. Did you know?
Eford studio.
In the Eford studios, of course, as we mentioned at the top of this program. However, Chip Patterson, CBS Sports, Cover 3 podcast, as someone who has an employer, which is, it's like, congratulations, you've got insurance and all these like really important things, right? Like that's a good thing, right? Like, you got a family. I mean, I'm not downplaying any of these things, right? They tell you where to go. Okay. So they own the rights to the Big Ten. So instead of being in Charlotte with us where you belong,
I know.
You're home. You'll be at the Big Ten Media Days. They're in Indy or Chicago?
Buddy.
Chicago.
Las Vegas.
What?
Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
What an upgrade. My God.
I know.
Maybe you do belong in the real Vegas, not even G Vegas.
I will say, so, there's
wow. Way to step up Tony Petiti or whatever that guy's name is.
So the Big 12 gets talked about a lot at their media days just because it's first and everyone's so football starved. And of course, like you have Deion Sanders, you've got other things that you can be able to latch onto and be able to sell to a big audience. But the Big 12 gets a proportionate amount of attention from college football fans everywhere just because they're first out of the gate.
Right.
So
which isn't a bad marketing idea, by the way.
Which again, like free advice to Jim Phillips, PhD, MD, is like you are going on as not only at the same time as another power conference, but last. Like once we've already kind of, cursor don't, blown our load, so to speak. You're kind of like, all right, okay. Now talk to me when we get into fall camp. Now this year, they are going to have a spike because of big brain Bill Belichick. It's something which, by the way, has crept into just my natural parlance because Hayes Permar is really good when he sits in here because he truly loves the show.
Yes.
I truly love the show. And you've kept saying this phrase, a turn of phrase, which is, oh, look at the big brains on Bill. Mm-hmm. And I have found myself on premium network television saying phrases like, and if big brain Bill Belichick can get him home, then everything will be great. So
Put it on a shirt.
yeah, I want to say that when I hope I'm not cribbing off your style.
No.
That is me just continuing the
No,
conversation I like taking part in.
Let's actually start with the Tar Heels.
Let's do
So
it.
here's what we're going to do today. Okay. We are going to do the over-under for Carolina, Duke, State.
Right.
Then for the ACC, since we won't have you for the ACC, I would like for you to pick a surprise team.
Mm-hmm.
I have one.
Yep.
And I would like you, in the honor, in the tradition, in the legacy of Triangle Good, I would like for you to pick a sleeping giant who will just remain sleeping.
Right.
Okay. So let's start with the Tar Heels. You mentioned the big brain on Bill. Look at the big brain on Bill. No, I was excited because Colin Cowherd last week brought up the schedule finally, which is what I've been hammering even before he was hired about the I don't want to say easy because every game has its own adventure.
Sure.
Right. It's very manageable. It reminds me a lot of SMU and Indiana, which is what Carolina's going for.
All right. So like, as we break into this, you could even use Las Vegas to see what's happening in the Atlantic Coast Conference, because there are 4 teams with win totals that are about above 7.5, just 4. There are 2 teams with win totals that are below 5.5, like the Stanford, things of that nature. Frank Reich, God bless him. You know,
Andrew Luck and Frank Reich, they need to suit up.
We'll see what's going to end up happening there. So you got 4 at the top, you got 2 at the bottom, and you have 11 teams in this 17-team conference with a win total between like 5.5 and 7.5.
Total mixed bag.
So,
I agree. Yep.
So what we have, and this is a phrase I've used before, I apologize if I've used it with you, is we've got 11 ham sandwiches.
Okay.
Ham sandwich will get the job done.
Sure.
You're making the turn. Like, you just need some sustenance. Like, a ham sandwich can just be able to get you what you need.
You don't need the agita from a hot dog.
No.
But you're like, you know what?
Good ham, down the middle ham sandwich. And they're perfectly fine football teams. There are 11 perfectly fine football teams. All of them have flaws that keep them from being anything close to that upper tier of conference title contender, or maybe even making it to Charlotte. And all of them at the same time aren't so horrendous that you are concerned about the future of football at that university. So 11 ham sandwiches, a lot of coin flips. And I think that that's what we're going to see, especially breaking down these triangle teams, which all fall into the ham sandwich territory.
Obviously, Carolina gets Bill Belichick. There's a significant roster makeover there. I know they're happy about some of the players they got on defense, especially, you know, some of Stevens' former players at Washington.
Yeah.
Seem to be the big gets for them.
Offensive line got bigger.
The offensive line is totally made over.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that Tom Brady always had was an excellent offensive line.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things, like I said with Hayes yesterday, I feel like Bill Belichick gets a chance to just play the hits this year. You know, at some point you're going to see him go for 2 and it'll be a direct snap to the running back. At some point you'll see him in the goal line throw a leak. You know, that should be a tight end. That's probably going to be a linebacker lined up as a tight end, Mike Vrabel style.
Sure.
You know, you're going to see on 3rd and short and 4th and short, the quarterback go hurry up and sneak. Like, I can predict all of these things that Bill Belichick's going to do. There's going to be a game where they start with 20 passes. There's going to be a game where they start with 20 runs. Okay. Like, I will create a bingo card before we get to the TCU opener of all the things we will see from Bill Belichick this year. And I can almost guarantee you I will get 95% of that bingo card correct. Okay. So, tapping myself on
I mean, the Jacoby Brissett wing T game is like
that's
that's
happening.
Call. Yeah, I put it on my list of things to do at some point.
Yeah.
Because we are going
to watch like the first 20 scripted plays of that game.
We're going to go through the media days, and basically what's going to happen is from the middle of July to the middle of August, nothing has changed. And so you're just going to be looking for something else to do. On my to-do list is to watch the Jacoby Brissett game, because that could be very telling in terms of what we're going to see from North Carolina's offense, which kind of gets into my expectations of what we're going to get.
Okay, so their number is 7.5, as you mentioned, one of those ham sandwich teams. Let's start with a little bit about personnel, because I can sit here and talk big picture to you. I've said all along, I think Carolina's defense will be better. I know we're not breaking a lot of news here. They've been awful on defense. I do think they'll be more sound and I don't think they'll be great, but I think they'll be just fine on defense and improve to a point that they can maybe help them win some football games. On the offensive side, we bring up Gio Lopez, the transfer from South Alabama. Smaller dude, obviously pretty mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Had a really big game, and the only time he's ever played in the state, right?
Well,
App State, or did he play Charlotte too?
Well, he also they liked the way he looked against LSU.
Okay.
And that's one
That's
thing
fair.
that Bill Belichick and Mike Lombardi have just clearly brought. Like, let's forget about NFL mindset as something sexy. What does the NFL love? The SEC. What does the NFL love specifically? SEC linemen. So all they've done is they've been remaking this roster. It's get guys that are 6'3" or taller or 315 pounds or more. I mean, it's just the days of like an undersized, scrappy player, like Willie Lampkin recently.
Yeah.
You know, like the days of those guys being on this roster are done, because it is clear that Belichick and Lombardi, they think big people matter. Now, why are these big people leaving other power programs, and why are those programs not fighting to keep them? Maybe they think they can't play. You know, like the teaching football to the large humans at the trenches is the key to everything for this North Carolina football team, because I think they're going to play 10 one-score games. And
they could.
And that's like, they just are not going to be explosive enough on offense. They're going to be just solid enough on defense. And just like the NFL, when you tune in for the witching hour at 3:30, every single game is going to be a one-score game. So I think that, you know, they're looking for just enough out of Gio Lopez, just enough out of the skill positions to be able to win those close games, because even the teams that they are going to be favorites than, I don't know if they're just going to blow them out of the water.
Before we get to the schedule, am I crazy to think that their two best skill players will not be anyone that they brought in, rather players that are returning? The running back Davion Gauss, remember, was high school teammate of CJ Belly and the little receiver.
Jeremiah Smith,
just a little receiver,
the biggest star in the sport. Yeah.
Dear University of Miami, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry for the editorializing there. To slam on our friends from the U, who just might come up a little bit later in this podcast. I like Gauss, and I like Chris Culliver too. He was a receiver at the end of the year last year. In-state guy. Got some speed to burn. He's made some mistakes. There's been some drops. There's been some conspicuous plays where I'm like, uh-oh. But at the end of the year, I felt like they were finally like, just let the fucking guy out of the doghouse and let him play.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what finally happened with Culliver. You got a lot of speed to burn. I like both of those guys at those skill positions for them.
Culliver's dad played, I think.
Potentially.
I want to say that we've got a little, I mean, I know you love DNA.
Yes.
Yeah. You love thoroughbreds.
Well, I love the wolf blood. You know this.
Absolutely. I don't think that's crazy, because without a doubt, if I was to sit down and rank the portal additions that made me the most encouraged about North Carolina football, it would take a long time before I get to a running back or a wide receiver. You know, like we've still got Max's little brother, Jake, who steps into the tight end role after they lose. Remember North Carolina under Mac Brown last year had like 7 tight ends and a bunch of big bodies. I think Jake Johnson finally gets his chance. But I look at it and I think it is a perfectly fine set of skill position players, but I think they're stronger at the offensive line than anywhere else, which leads me to more of this like ball control. Don't make a mistake. Very conservative, run the football. Yeah, I mean,
they're lost by the other team.
I really, really foresee that.
I know all the Belichickisms, by the way.
It says that if you're going to say Davion Gauss and Culliver, your guys, I get Kobe Paysour still there. Yeah, and that's got a guy who's played a lot of Carolina football, so he's come up with some big catches during these last couple seasons. It'll be interesting. You know, if they ever decide to put the numbers on the jerseys,
sure.
Whether we'll
at some point they will.
Whether we'll see if anything comes out of fall camp to give us a better idea, because I don't think anybody, whether it's Phil Steele or our lads or Joe and Chip, I don't know if anyone could put together a depth chart and feel confident about it going into week 1.
No, which kind of makes this a fool's errand, right? But it's not how the content gets made, sir.
But the schedule has the names of the teams that you want to see and very few of the teams you don't want to see. Because while Clemson comes to town, you have an off week before and an off week after, and you have no SMU, no Louisville. You have all of the teams that you want to see from the bottom of the conference without too much other than Clemson from the top.
Okay, so let's go through this. The number is 7.5.
Yep.
I like to do it this way. What games can we just sit here and write down and say they're going to lose?
Correct.
I got 1.
I got 2.
Okay. Obviously, the one that we agree on is Clemson.
Correct.
Clemson comes here October 4th. Clemson has more talent than they do. I'm not sold on Clemson being much more than ACC good, but that's a conversation for another day.
For sure.
What is your other one?
TCU.
The opener.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's gonna be too much.
Talk to me a little bit about this, because I think I know where you're coming from, because Deion Sanders, who people often mistakenly compare Bill Belichick to, won his first game by beating a TCU team fresh off an appearance in the national championship game.
We cannot call that an appearance. The Georgia players were eating food from the floor level suites before the end of the game. Okay. I was there in Los Angeles. Their great open air stadium didn't help us when it started raining sideways about 2 hours before the game. But things calmed down. Yeah, I was there as the Georgia players were reaching over the edge at the floor level seats and getting food out to eat as they ran up one of the biggest postseason blowout wins in history, which was only bested the very next year by Georgia against Florida State. You want to know why people talk? You just hung out with some Georgia fans. The reason why Georgia fans have been so emboldened by this run is because for 3 entire seasons, no one beat them except Nick Saban, because they had these wins where they just absolutely crushed everybody. And TCU showed up that next year, and they did not take Colorado seriously, and Colorado made them pay. There is no chance in hell that TCU is sleepwalking into Monday night Labor Day opener against Bill Belichick. That place is going to be rocking. And there is a player whose name is Josh Hoover, and he is the TCU quarterback, and he is right out of what you would expect. Good college.
Big 12.
Jag plus. Just a guy plus a little extra. Big 12, going to throw for 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns this year. And Josh Hoover's good enough that when Nico left Tennessee to go to UCLA, Tennessee was trying to talk.
Right.
But TCU, locked him down to be able to keep him there.
Found the bag, found some money.
TCU is going to expose the communication issues that are bound to be there with the college team playing on that kind of stage for the first time. New defensive coordinator, everybody's new on the roster. Things could get going very quickly, and the game could get out of hand. That's kind of my expectation.
Okay, I think we can agree on the 4 expected wins: Charlotte, Richmond, Virginia, Stanford.
Oh yeah, sure. I think I'm going to add UCF to that. I just don't think it's a good football team.
Okay,
fundamentally.
Oh, that's right. Their coach left and is now
in
the ACC.
Yeah, Gus Malzahn resigned to go be the offensive coordinator at Florida State. They kind of went for it, capital W went for it last year, and it just didn't work.
Okay,
so they the system was done. He would rather leave before getting fired.
So that leaves us with 5 wins, 1 loss, and 6 coin tosses. So they need to win 2 of the 6 coin tosses. So this is pretty easy for me. This is an over.
Yes, it is an easy one for me as well.
It might not be much more than 9-3.
Well,
but I would be surprised if it was anything less than 8-4. I mean, I would be surprised.
I would not be surprised. There's a weird rhythm to the schedule with that off week against Clemson, off week after that could burn them, because then they go out to play Cal.
I have that on the coin. I have Cal as a coin toss, as we saw last year. State goes out there.
Yeah,
it's going to be a little sleepy, maybe a little bit sunny. Your guys aren't probably going to care all that much.
Yeah, I think that there are some real tests of whether the team is going to buy in to this coaching staff the way that a team of professionals would.
Yeah.
And those are where the coin toss. Look, there is nothing that would be Bill Belichick going up against North Carolina football's just sort of aura on the good side, stank on the bad side.
Yeah, they haven't won a conference title since 1980.
But what happens when Virginia comes to town? Because Virginia's roster got better. They were knocking on the door of bowl eligibility. Tony Elliott has he's got so much pressure on him. If he could deliver a win against North Carolina and Chapel Hill.
But you've seen that so many times. That coach goes into the season on the hot seat. There's a reason he's on the hot seat. How many times does a coach on the hot seat absolutely pull it out of the fire?
I was just talking about the stank of a North Carolina loss to UVA that they should.
Your diploma qualifies you. And many Carolina fans love to point out to me, Gilio, Virginia and Georgia Tech. And I'm right, but Georgia Tech's not on this schedule.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But Miami, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Louisville, as you mentioned, SMU, they could not have asked for a more agreeable conference schedule.
So I've got their low. So we did an interesting exercise at CBS Sports last week or 2 weeks ago. It was best case, worst case.
Mhm.
My best case was 9-3. My worst case was 6-6. There's
Okay.
zero chance with this schedule that we are going to see this North Carolina team not at least get to go play in the Military Bowl.
I would agree with that.
Oh God. And Bill in Annapolis. Let's go.
All right, let's move on to that would be their dream, obviously. Let's move on to Duke. I'm not going to lie to you. Duke surprised the hell out of me last year. I thought Nina King had lost her marbles by going from the coachiest of coaches in Mike Elko to the slickest of the slicks in Manny Diaz, right? But Manny, for the lack of a better term, in the immortal words of Steve Fisher, guys, I don't know what nut up means, but I would love for you to show it to me right now. Fab Five, if you ever read the book about the Fab Five, nut up was like how they broke the huddle. So I thought Duke and Manny Diaz nutted up last year.
Yeah.
Like they were a lot better than I thought was going to happen over in Durham. Now, a big part of that, want to give Duke credit, is their NIL and their structure and their commitment to football. I was told their budget last year was $10 million, which it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I know it's not Ohio State. I know it's not Texas, but it's damn sure better than anybody not named Florida State, Louisville, SMU, Clemson in the ACC.
I don't know what Clemson's numbers were.
And I think they're one of the biggest reasons Carolina decided to make the investment in football this year, because nothing happens in the triangle in a vacuum.
That's true.
Like Carolina didn't just up and decide like, oh yeah, we're going to pour $45 million into our program overnight. Like there has to be a reason.
Somebody
and I think they've looked at Duke's success now, because it's not just Manny, it wasn't just Elko. They've made this financial commitment and they've seen results, which I take my hat off to them. You and I are of the same age. You and I remember when Duke was so bad that their own lawyers argued that they were successfully argued in a court of law that they were the worst program in college football.
Shout out to everybody that I played pickup football with, because you could just walk right into a Duke football game and kids playing. You went to a Duke football game not to watch Duke football, but to meet up with other kids to play pickup football at the game instead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now they get Manny in year 2. Now last year they go 9-4. Again, they surprised the absolute shit out of me. Their last 3 years, 9-4, 8-5, 9-4. Normally when Duke has a little bit of a sun run, I go back and look at the schedule and go, now wait a second. Were they actually good, or did they take advantage of a good schedule? No, I actually think they were pretty good defensively last year. Defensively, specifically. Which again would be Manny's background.
Do you have the last year's results pulled up too?
Yeah.
I think they were 5-1 in one-score games, because
Northwestern 1-0, UConn 2-0, Carolina 3-0.
SMU maybe is the only
FSU
loss.
4-0, SMU 4-1, and Wake Forest 5-1. Look at you. Virginia Tech 6-1.
Okay.
So
sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not.
And the Carolina win was a Mac Brown special.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. There is a suggestion that those types of records, just in general, like people who sit down and try to make predictions about college football, there is a big mindset that goes to the regression to the mean. The idea that football is a stupid game with a funny shaped ball, and that if you go 5-1 in one-score games one year, then you're going to see some of those break the other way. But the thing that stands out to me is that that's what Manny Diaz instilled as that team's identity. Do you remember they were saying phrases like drag you into the sewer? They wanted to create these just like low scoring, tough, beat you on the margins, beat you with good defense. So much so that when I was looking at, did I tell you that's the offense defense? All the good offensive games were losses except for Middle Tennessee. And those are some of the worst defensive games.
Okay.
So even though they've got this great quarterback in Darian Mensah, and I think Jonathan Brewer, their offensive coordinator, is a really, really sharp mind. They've got a lot of skill players that they have to replace. Some of them might be young guys. It seems like a reset type season for Manny Diaz. I see something closer to a 6-6 type scenario.
Okay, so their total is 6.5. I have 1 definite loss at Clemson. I have 3 definite wins: Elon, UConn, Virginia. That leaves us with 8 coin tosses.
Mm-hmm.
If they go 4-4 on their coin tosses, they're 7-5. Right at the number. This is why Vegas is so good.
I know.
You know what? I just said give Duke credit. I'm going to give Duke credit. I think they'll go 7-5.
Think they'll go 7-5.
I think they'll go 7-5.
I think Illinois is a guaranteed loss.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Even in Durham?
Yeah.
Okay, Brett Bielema, you think?
I think that's the 4th or 5th best team in the Big Ten.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think that there's another part. If you look at the order of the schedule, there is some tricky cross-country travel.
Yeah, they go to Cal. They get some time off. They get GT. Yeah. I mean, their schedule is weird in the sense, like I said, I only see 3 games that I think they're going to win. It's kind of a similar situation to when we start talking about NC State. It's not that I think State's going to be bad. I look at their schedule. I'm like, well, how many coin tosses are you going to win? To your point, you can pull up the Phil Steele if you want. Phil Steele taught an entire generation of what you had said. There's 2 tenets that you look at: turnover margin from the previous year and 1-score games from the previous year. Most teams that don't have a significant talent advantage, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, most of those teams that aren't those teams live and die by those 2 factors.
But a Duke fan is going to say that's just what we do.
Sure.
We win 1-score games. It's like Manny Diaz coaches to it. That's how we close the gap.
And they got one of the top prizes in the transfer portal
with Mensa
in their quarterback from
Right.
Tulane. And they happen to play Tulane down there this year.
Right.
So I'm going to go over because I was wrong about them last year. I was.
Right.
My instinct says, to your point, it's probably 5-7, 6-6. My instinct.
I don't think it's 5-7.
You don't?
No. I think that it's probably going to be in that, you're asking me to pick 6.5 and you got to take a stand on that one. I'll say, yeah, I think that they might end up as 6-6. You also add like the Carolina game gets dropped in there. Maybe you go up and you end up getting got by Fran Brown when you have to go play Cuse in their house and they're scrapping for anything to be able to get a bowl win. I mean, there's just when you play games that close, you open the door for to be able to get beat even by teams that you're better than.
Say I wanted to move out of Garner into the fancy areas where Chip Patterson and Hayes Permar live, I would hit up my friends at Hometown Realty, myhtr.com. You buy and sell with confidence. People worry about rates sometimes. We'll get to you in rates. We can help you on that front. But sometimes you got to worry about the value of a home. The values in our area keep going up and up and up and up. You can fix rates, but you can't fix prices like that. So check in with our friends at Hometown Realty. It's myhtr.com. They can help you find a home. You can rub shoulders with the inside the Beltline elite like Chip Patterson and Hayes Permar. Now, of course, in order to get that home, you're going to need a loan. You're going to need a mortgage. Maybe you already have a mortgage. Maybe you want to refinance. Maybe you want to do that with no closing costs, no fees. Gordon Miller. Give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's millerlending.com/the OG. You go to our landing page. Everyone who uses Miller Lending and closes with them or refinances with them, they get a gift basket from the Raleigh Wine Shop. It's an unbelievable deal. Plus, as I said, no closing costs, no fees. And also, you're going to have a conversation with Austin Herbert. Shout out, carry high till I die. Austin will tell you, hey, man, here's what the rates are right now. Here are what your options are, like they did with me. I ended up with a home equity line of credit, and I was like, okay. But he also told me, listen, the second the number comes down the right way, we're going to refi, roll this into one loan, and you'll be on your way. So you will know your options when you work with Miller Lending and Gordon Miller. And Gordon will be joining us tomorrow, as Hayes Permar has correctly called it, Miller time. Tomorrow is Miller time with our friend Gordon Miller up in Michigan. Now, found a house, you got a loan, you got to close. That's our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. Josh Whitaker, Joe Hamer, they have locations all across the eastern part of this state. Josh is the man for all of your legal needs. He's so smart, he came up with the URL, wh.lawyer. And of course, we will be at Whitaker and Hamer. We will be at Shady's 717. So next Thursday,
Mm.
our live show, we will tap a keg. It's a 4 p.m. special. We'll have some merch too. So it'll be exciting. And then finally, once you close, you're going to need some insurance on your house. You're going to need some insurance on your car, life insurance, all these things. You could save money. All you got to do is call Matt Davis. It's 919-779-8277, or go to insuregarner.com. I know there's a number of people who have already called Matt and had a conversation. Again, it's pretty simple. Hey, here's what I'm paying right now. And he looks at it and goes, okay. Most of the time he says, here's how I can save you.
Mhm.
But there are sometimes people call and he tells them, hey man, no, you got a great rate. That's how customer service works. I'm not telling you to go to these guys for my health. I'm telling you because I know that they can help you, and I know that they can help you save money. So check him out. Again, Matt Davis, insuregarner.com, 919-779-8277. All right, let's get back to that Wolf Pack now. 6.5 for NC State, which seems like the most on-brand NC State thing ever. I had a tweet sent to me. The college game is out. Did you get an advanced copy of
No,
NCAA?
I tell you what. Listen, I'll bare my soul here. Last year I got it, and I don't have game anymore.
Okay.
And you know what?
Respect.
I kind of got beaten down.
Really? I agree. I agree.
I was tired of getting my ass kicked, and the amount of time it was going to take me to like get good again just wasn't there.
You didn't have
it hasn't been there. I've been playing a little bit more golf in the last like month and a half.
Respect.
And so I think I think that's what I'm gonna try to chase.
The golf.
like whether I'm gonna be getting better.
Break 90,
at a
break
video
80.
Game.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna scratch that itch instead. I'm no judgment. I'm not gonna call anyone out, but we'll see if I end up circling around to it. But I did not get it this week.
So I bring this up because somebody had already posted. I think it's a satisfied NC State fan on Twitter. Here's a screen grab from the regular season finale. NC State 5-6, North Carolina 5-6. Yes, same as it ever was, even in video game form. So NC State's total is 6.5. I have mentioned that I do not like NC State's schedule this year. I thought we are now fully in law of the wolf territory, though, with NC State, because last year everyone was so excited about Grayson McCall. They were so excited about all the additions on the offensive end in the portal and how they were suddenly have found religion, and Dave Doran was going to let them try to win games, 52 to 45, right? Like these were all things that I heard last year. Gosh, NC State. Plus, their schedule's so easy, as I always point out, right? Like, Giglio, you're saying the same thing about Carolina right now, right? Their schedule last year was very easy, except for the fact that they weren't very good.
Mm.
And that now leads us to year 13 for Diamond Dave. Is it really year 13? Wow. I bring up the law of the wolf because, of course, when you expect the least from the wolf pack, you get the most. And after last year of expecting the most and then absolutely getting the least, this does feel like one of those years, Chip. I'm not talking about people on your end. I'm not talking about Carolina fans either. I'm not talking about college football fans. I'm talking about NC State fans. And most of my friends are NC State fans. I have never gone into a season with NC State fans talking this little about the NC State football team. Like, I barely have a conversation with my friends. My friend Steve Young was over the house the other day. He goes, we're talking about the football season, and Steve goes to every game. Tailgate spends a lot of money. Does also. Are you excited about the season? I mean, I'm excited for the tailgate. So this is a classic NC State football season. You got the tailgate and a decent schedule at home and a good quarterback in CJ Bailey. Like, this is what you are. This is what you have. And I applaud NC State fans for finally being like, yeah, tailgate's going to be fun. Never lost one.
What's your Kurt Roper read? Because we know, like that's the thing is Kurt Roper's one of these coaches that has just been around for so long that you can grab anything good or bad, right?
Yeah.
You be like, hey, and remember that season with this team? That was awesome. Or that season with this team? That was disappointing. Here's my thought. Because he was the quarterback coach for CJ Bailey last year, you have changed coordinators, but you have not disrupted the conversation that your most important offensive player is having with his position coach. That if you really like forced CJ Bailey to go into a brand new system, then we might be not having the kind of linear progression that a lot of people are expecting, that at least you've got a little bit of continuity. You think I'm reading that right?
I think you are in this sense, but I also think, as I say, year 13 for Diamond Dave, he is not going to change his stripes.
We're going to run the stretch on first down.
We're on the zone stretch. First down, it will be super predictable.
Yeah.
He will use his timeouts at the wrong time. His short yardage plays will be atrocious. This is what Dave is. This is what he's proven to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that like in any malicious way. If I was writing and covering NC State for 13 years, you would expect me, NC State's ranked. Well, Giglio's going to have a yellow pad about every time they're ranked in the preseason. They never finish ranked, right? Like, NC State beat Carolina or Duke in basketball. Oh, Giglio's going to have a chart about what they do the next game, the Duke Carolina hangover, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just think at this point, the offensive coordinator doesn't matter. I think that's what we learned last year. It's not the offensive coordinator. You can change the names. It's Dave. It's Dave, and it's his philosophy, and it's his mindset. And I think he'll get over involved, and he gets to the point where it's like, let's go back to that Maryland bowl game. No. We can A, get Chris Dunn some sort of NCAA record, and B, we can, just win the game 13-12.
That's not what happened in that game. You know it. Neither one of those coaches wanted mayonnaise. No, I think both Mike Loxley and Dave Doran were both actively trying to lose the game, because as much as NC State fans remember their frustration, as an innocent bystander, I'm going to tell you, I was like, something's up here. This is like, I would allege point shaving, but I don't know what exactly we were going to be dealing with there, unless it was the total, just to guarantee some alt unders. But I don't know if I've seen two teams try so hard to lose a game. My working theory is neither one wanted the mayonnaise bath.
So the number is 6.5 for NC State. Let's go through it again. I see 2 losses, automatic, Notre Dame and Miami. Don't at me with Miami. They don't win there, including the year they could have won the league, and they lost down there.
Miami, whether Miami has the talent to be able to go and contend with top 10 teams is a different conversation than whether Miami has more talent than NC State. Miami has more talent.
We'll get to Miami very soon. Notre Dame, no. Here's the problem. I only see 2 guaranteed wins. I see Virginia and Campbell as guaranteed wins. Again, Virginia, I think your team is dog shit. So clip it, save it, come at me when your guy magically turns it around this year. But I see those, and Dave's never lost to Virginia. Those are the 2 that I see as wins. And Pitt, he also has an immaculate record against. But I see Virginia and Campbell as the wins. Then I got 8 coin tosses.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they do in the 8 coin tosses? 4 and 4,
6
right? And that gets us to 6 and 6. I mean, it just feels like that's it. Like I don't know what else. And we all kind of know it's circled November 29th. I do feel like if Dave beats Bill Belichick, I do think he'll walk it off. I do. No matter what it is, whether it's to get, because they don't care about bowl games.
Right.
They've made it abundantly clear they do not care about bowl games. So I think if he wins that game, I think he will retire like the next day. I do. I'm being very serious right now.
I believe you.
Yeah. I mean, there's enough of a rumor going around the Wolfpack Club from this past year that Dave tried to retire. And I think Brandon Cisse is the reason. And then people don't like it when I do that. Like when I talk about JT Jarrett with baseball being patient zero, and, they don't like it when I talk about Maverick Rowan being, like, why did Mark Godfrey think Maverick Rowan was better than the Martin twins? They don't like it when I quote unquote attack individual players, but Cisse was the classic Dave Doran recruit. Nobody wanted him out of high school. Comes in, looks like $1 million playing as a true freshman. Now all of a sudden, South Carolina, his hometown, his home state team goes, hey, we'll pay you $1 million or whatever they're paying him to come play corner for the Gamecocks. Oh, okay. I'm leaving. I think that broke him. I do. Because that was his whole, as I mentioned his flaws and his drawbacks, his strength was finding players that other people didn't want and develop them and putting them into the NFL.
Yeah.
There's really no doubt about that, what that has been his strength. And I think I think all of this has kind of hurt. He's an old soul.
Yeah.
as we saw this in college basketball, and even Nick Saban, telling us about Miss Terry and why are we even talking to these recruits? Why do we even talk to their parents? The only thing they care about is the money. I think there's a big part of this that, not that Dave Doran doesn't agree with. I'm sure he agrees the players should be paid, but college football in particular, and they're beating up their coaches with these multiple windows and having to, MJ Morris, the jersey on the wall over here, having to like renegotiate in the middle of the season and all this other. I rarely feel bad for coaches because I've been fired on a Wednesday, so I know what it's like. You can be randomly fired, but of course their parachute, it was a lot bigger than mine.
Well, like
so it's part of the job, right?
Well, and also to humanize it, the wide receiver coach is not making that.
Right.
And the wide receiver
care about those guys.
And the wide receiver coach is doing the exact same calendar. Not see, how am I supposed to recruit the transfer portal, lock down my signing class, and prepare for a playoff game all in the holidays?
It's,
I hate the calendar right now.
I agree.
I say this as a long way of saying I'm going under. I think they will go 6-6. I actually do think they'll beat Belichick in the last game.
I've handed that one to NC State as well. I think that NC State needs to do a better job of winning games at home, because that is where the coin toss games are.
Mm-hmm.
When you have one of these schedules, you want your certified L's to be on the road, and you want your coin tosses at home. And that's what they have. But the problem is there's so much scarring from the Syracuse game last year, from the Wake game last year, those home losses with blown leads that just turned Carter Finley just into this like nasty, frustrated energy. Like, you got to get that place rocking. And that's where I think, man, like with Bailey and with Rogers and with like Hollywood, you've got the potential to have a really fun offense. We'll see if DJ Elliott can be able to shore up things defensively, because
they were not good on defense last year. They really weren't.
Did you know that they went 3 or 4 years in a row only giving up like less than 21 points a game?
Yeah.
And then that jumped by more than a touchdown last year. I mean, it took a huge step back.
Peyton Wilson was an NFL player playing college football.
Well, I mean, Tanner Engel, the defensive line.
No, I know, but
there's like a lot of
difference makers.
Oh yeah,
hammers.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
They do not have any hammers on defense.
No.
And
would it make? I know Dave's a big fan of the show and he listens a lot. Would it make him feel better if my South Carolina people tell me that Brandon Cisse is one of the biggest and most impactful transfer portal additions in the SEC?
No, because that's the kind of guy that he identified, and he stayed with him, and he's going to sit there and go, if I can't keep a player like that, then what can I possibly do? I can't get Dexter Lawrence from Wake Forest. I can't get Will Shipley, the fucking wolf blood, to come play for me. But I have been able to get a Chubb. I have been able to go get, some of these, a Jermaine Pratt, who some other schools maybe didn't want, but were fuck of a football players, and became really, really, really good ACC football players. So I think that's kind of where he is. All right. So quickly, Florida, I'll just give it away. My surprise team is Florida State. That's my surprise team. I'm not in love with the Seminoles, and I hate their schedule. I do think they are going to open the season with a win over Alabama, though.
Oh,
I do. I think we're going full circle here, because everyone shit on them last year for losing to Georgia Tech, who, by the way, was pretty good.
Yep, Georgia Tech's good.
On a 50-something yard field goal in Ireland. Now, the team quit after that. Let's be clear. I think Florida State, with my boy Tommy Castellanos, I actually think Florida State is going to win the ACC. I do. I think they're going to beat Alabama. It's going to be the exact opposite of last year. Everyone's going to be sucking their dick after the first game instead of everybody shitting on them. And then
I just don't think they are good enough. Like I just
this is a classic we don't know, right? Though, in terms of, because think about it, 2 or 3 years ago they redid their whole roster. All of a sudden they look like a fucking war machine until a quarterback gets hurt.
But some of that had been built up. They weren't just like 1 year. That was the problem, is they weren't 1 year mercenaries like they did after they had the pop year in 2023.
Yeah.
So they tried to retool the roster with a bunch of 1 year mercenaries, and when they hit adversity, the team quit.
Yeah.
They gutted the coaching staff, and I think that a lot of the hires were just Band-Aid hires. Like, I don't think that they are truly improving in a drastic way.
What does Bud think? What does Danny think?
That he was like, yeah, I mean, so what are we thinking? They're like, yeah, I mean, they should make a bowl game.
Okay. 7.5 is the number.
Yeah, I would take under.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's because Alabama and Florida?
Alabama, Florida, and I just don't think they're that far ahead. I mean, they're one of the ham sandwiches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
So do you have a surprise team?
Oh, my surprise team is Pitt.
Pitt.
So
Okay.
last year, remember 7-0 start. Everyone's going nuts. Then
That's
they went
right.
0-6 to
That's
close the year,
That's right.
including losing to Toledo in Detroit in the bowl game.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, gross. But they kind of fell apart and they kind of got exposed. So you'll remember they hired an offensive coordinator from Western Carolina by the name of Cade Bell.
Mhm.
He brought with him a bunch of Western Carolina guys,
Kind of like Indiana did.
including a running back named Desmond Reed.
Yes.
Desmond Reed finished the year as top 5, top 6 in the country in terms of all-purpose yards. Desmond Reed said this offseason, I was at Western for year 1 of the install and saw the jump to year 2. You don't know, we are going to go faster. We are going to be better, sharper, more productive. And if they can get a little bit of injury luck, because on the offensive line, they fell apart.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and watch that Clemson Pitt game, neither team has any healthy offensive linemen. Neither team can move the ball. And Cade Klubnik saved us from ourselves with a 60-yard touchdown run just to end the game. Because we were going to be talking about 9 overtime.
I know.
Sicko type stuff.
I know.
But thankfully, Cade did that. But if they can get a little bit more injury luck on the offensive line, which is so important when you play at that fast tempo, then I think that their offense is going to be really good. Kyle Lewis is like a all-American caliber linebacker. So I'm going to say Pitt exceeds expectations.
I like that, especially since now that I know your Florida State cohorts are not so high on the nose. Sleeping giant who will still remain sleeping. Should we say our answer at the same time?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Miami.
Florida State.
Oh! Well, no, they're not. Florida State's not sleeping because they technically went unbeaten and with their quarterback like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Like
but
there's a tenure there to
but the
Miami hasn't been good in 25 fucking years.
correct.
Like,
correct.
Come on.
I know.
They are asleep. And every single year the conversation is no. Here comes Miami.
Do you know what I can't get over with Miami?
Mario Cristobal is completely incompetent as a game coach.
Listen,
I mean, that probably should be the
That is-
answer.
the Cavender,
How the fuck did they not win the league last year, by the way?
because they lost at Syracuse.
I mean,
They lost at Syracuse because they would have gone to beat SMU. You know,
were they down 10 and he kicked a field goal or something?
No, they blew a lead. They were up 21-0 in the second quarter.
But he made some sort of boneheaded decision at the end of that game.
Every Miami game has a bonus.
Yeah, their number's 9.5. Their quarterback has more stolen Lamborghinis than important touchdown passes.
This is what I can't get over. So the Cavender twins were at a UFC fight in the spring, and they were caught on video telling someone else, like a third girl, he's a fucking loser. I've always wondered if he's attractive enough to be a good quarterback. You
can imagine what my Georgia fan friends think of Carson Banks.
They started.
You could just imagine.
They just started describing him as like, yeah, he would just walk in, expect everyone to love him, but he wouldn't talk to anybody. He would just stay buried in his phone. And I need my quarterback. Again, you were already fighting an uphill battle on the aesthetics.
Yeah.
To also have that kind of attitude, I don't know. Cam Ward was a dog.
Yes.
And he got everybody around him to buy in and be on the same page and make them better. So not only are we coming back from injury, a dramatic injury, vibes aren't great. I'm with you on the general sell of Miami stock, but their talent is really, really good.
Obviously fairly good. Chip Patterson, Cover 3 Podcast, CBS Sports. Enjoy Vegas, man.
Thank you.
I'm very, very jealous. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Appreciate everyone for coming out to the Two Roosters. Enjoy the flavor. We will see you tomorrow, a very special Mount Rushmore edition of War Machines since 2000. Here's a spoiler. There's only 3 of them. Yes, we're totally breaking the radio format. Only here on OG Media.